Hey everyone. So right from the jump, this chapter answered the question of what was going on with Shanks, which is that a lot of what we saw was very likely him putting on some kind of an act to avoid giving Emu a reason to take control of his mind. As we learned that Shanks, much like with Roald, he made a shallow covenant pact. Now, this still raises the question of the why. Why even do that in the first place? Hell, why even return to his family in general? And the only thing that makes sense as to why Shanks is doing all this, just based off this chapter, is that after God Valley incident and Roger's death, Shanks took it upon himself to be sort of the inside man in order to keep an eye on the government and relay any important information to people for instance like Raylan and Gabon. That's the only way I can square Shanks willingly putting himself in that kind of situation among some potentially more personal reasons for infiltrating that haven't been revealed yet. But in saying that though, that however, more than anything, I feel this chapter really revealed the most about the circumstances of how Shanks ended up with the Gum Gum fruit in his possession and later eaten by Luffy. It was in fact all initially a personal mission, I think, on Shanks' behalf to return the fruit to Elbaf. And because Shanks himself was the one who raided the ship that stole the fruit, that's how he very likely ended up cutting ties with his family permanently because of his betrayal. It just kind of all fits perfectly into place as to why Shanks ended up like cutting ties with his family after that. Um, in saying all that, this chapter confirmed everything that this flashback had been building up to. That Loki's crime of killing Harald was actually Harald himself ordering Loki to kill him, to take up the mantle of king and lead Elbaf into the bright future he couldn't create for his country. And one thing I loved about this part of the chapter is how detailed Oda was about Harald's inner thoughts during this section of the chapter. Like his thoughts about his regrets and failures and just how he perceived his weakness and inability to foresee any of this and prevent it from happening. Like it's a really interesting from self-critique from a character that I don't know, I'm not gonna say we haven't seen before, but not to this extent, I think. In saying that, though, the one thing that really has me bugging is Ja Rule himself. Like, he was there when it all happened. He knows that Harold ordered Loki to kill him. So then why is it that in the present we're in a completely reverse situation of what Harold wished for? And I think I think the answer again is clear as day. Loki decided to take the fall to preserve Harald's legacy because because both Jarl and Loki knew what would happen if things played out the way Harald wanted. Even if Loki had made a genuine attempt to continue on his father's legacy under the parameters Harald set, the fact remains any besmirchment of Harald's legacy would have crushed the people's spirits to continue working towards towards that goal of peace. Like even with Loki at the helm of doing everything he can to push it forward, and I think it just none of it would have worked. And I think somewhere deep in Loki's heart, he knew he was just better at playing the villain, just more general, or just more generally, he's better. He's like it would be better for the people themselves to carry on his father's legacy. Like he knew he was, and I think to some extent this also shows just how kind of afraid I think Loki was of even carrying on Harald's footsteps, because he was probably just unsure if he would even be able to do that. So rather than go the route of following in his father's footsteps, he chose to make himself the martyr. I think again in his mind, it was just a better option. Give the people someone to hate, and motivate them to continue Harald's work post mortem. It was just it kind of just it just kind of worked out perfectly. Of course, as far as present events go, that's no longer an option, as Loki has to, as with the with the God Knights and Emu themselves on Elbaf fucking shit up now. Like Loki, pretty much Loki, he pretty much can't he can't afford to be a spectator any longer. He has to step into the role alongside Haradin to become the leaders that their father wanted them to be, because that is what Elbaf needs now. So yeah, it's gonna be. So yeah, like Loki, I understand you're probably afraid, you're probably unsure, but right now you don't really have a choice anymore, my guy. You kind of have to step into that role of being a leader now. And this, I think, will definitely be. And the more I'm thinking about it, like freeing Loki now is going to be like the perfect test to see if he really has it in him in order to be a leader, or if all of his like insecurities about whether or not he can be as good a leader as his father is really all true or not. And yeah, honestly, as a whole, I don't really have a lot to say, anything more to say about this chapter. If I did have one complaint about this chapter, though, it's that for being the final chapter of the year, it ends on a note that feels expected for any other time Oda's gone on break, but not how I expected it to end for like a final chapter of the year. Like, maybe it's just that my expectations were too high, and my fear of how I thought Oda would end the year definitely didn't happen. But at bare minimum, I thought we would see who threw the hammer at Loki, but we didn't even see that in this chapter. So it's not a terrible way to end things for the year, but it does feel a little bit awkward end to the year. Although from my personal IRL experience, maybe that is kind of fitting, given how awkward this year has felt. Like, yeah, 2025 has definitely been an interesting, if not awkward, year to say the least. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Blue Sky, Analyst Crunchyroll, Vision Fix Your Spell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight Divinity signing off. Later, everyone.